games in the books. We've already seen big bats go yard, arm stealing in the circle, and sensational defense. Settle in, get comfy for a winner-take-all Game 3 with a trip to the Women's College World Series on the line. And taking a look, Tennessee just punching their ticket to OKC to take on the four-time defending champion Oklahoma Sooners. Texas awaiting the winner of
and gets the ball today here in Game 3. Season on the line, folks. This is it. Is she going to be able to answer that call?
Well, we know what the Florida offense can do and has produced in this NCAA tournament. One of those top players that we've seen, Taylor Shoemaker, had a great regional weekend so far. She's been walked 4 times, not getting a lot of opportunities here.
Well, when she did see pitches, she wasn't able to capitalize. A couple of rollover ground balls yesterday, just really struggled to barrel up some good pitches.
All right, folks, buckle up. It's Florida versus Georgia. We're ready to get underway from Katie C. Show Presley Stadium.
Cheese, hamburger, chicken fingers.
Average on the year out of Decula, Georgia. And these two teams who have plenty of history, longtime conference foes, and also on this postseason stage.
Good night. Only one hit on the weekend, has been such a stud in the leadoff position for Georgia. 30 stolen bases on the year. Came into this program topping at 18 miles an hour with those legs. And just last week, Tiffany clocked 21 miles an hour top speed.
The 3-1 to Goodnight, who showed bunt, fouls it off.
This is a Georgia team that has not pulled back on the gas pedal when it comes to training. In fact, talking to head coach Tony Baldwin, see him there at the mouth of the dugout, he said, we have cranked it up in the weight room. We've hit PRs with strength, PRs with speed, PRs with recovery even.
The chopper and going up to get it is Kinley Cahalan over at third base. And she retires the leadoff batter. With this Gator defense, we saw some great plays for them already this weekend. Cahalan, who transferred over from Alabama, now the starting third baseman this season for the Gators. First pitch swinging, Lindy Ray Davis, and sends it into right, 2 down.
That's the freshman Shoemaker in right field, battling some sun. We've talked a lot about sun, you and I, Tiffany. One of the banes of my existence as an outfielder when I played in college. See the visors, the shades. We got a lot of sun, folks. It's been a hot weekend.
Tyler Ellison out of McDonough, Georgia. Swings through that one, 1 ball and 1 strike. Player who's really done a nice job capitalizing on our opportunities. Keegan Rothrock, who we saw in day 1 tie a season high with 7 strikeouts. She said she felt great in that game. One of her best outings of the season. Last year's SEC Freshman of the Year.
That was the pitch that worked so well for her in game 1. She challenged on the inside part of that strike zone against Georgia, matched that with the rise ball up and in, could take it up and out.
Over the head of Rothrock, the double clutch there from Mia Williams, but it is in time. 12 pitches in the inning, 3 up, 3 down, and the Gators coming up to bat when you return. that speed doesn't sleep.
Well, it definitely doesn't sleep for Kendra Falby. She's got 35 stolen bases on the year, a true triple threat in the leadoff position for Florida. She's got the speed, obviously, the short game, the pop. Talking to Tim Walton, Tiffany, he said that last year, junior season for Kendra Falby was one of the best mechanical swing years that he's seen from Kendra, and said coming into this year, hey, we've got the swing on lock. The stand-in power is there. Now I want to challenge you to work on pounding this ball in the ground, beat it out, really flex the speed. We've seen her this weekend try to use that chop, that high bounce in the air.
She's seen 3 straight balls out of the hand of Lily Backus. Kendra Falby, the senior out of the Tampa area. 3 for 8 so far this weekend, including a double, and Falby taking all the way, and that's in for a strike. Falby, one of 6 seniors for this Florida team. And what a career she has had. Consistently one of those players who has led not only her team, but at times led the country in hits. And just has a nose for getting on base. And that one rolls foul.
You notice just the barrel control. There, a 3-1 count. She's trying to place this ball down the line. I mean, you can see her eyes shooting right down the barrel. She's picking a place on this field like a target. That is the control of the hands in the barrel of Kendra Falby.
And this one hits her, and you see her fist bump on the way to first base. So Falby hit by the pitch, the leadoff runner on here for the Gators.
And works this count full and then takes one off the end of the foot.
You like that fist pump? She excited about that?
I mean, at this point, your season's on the line. You're going to celebrate anything. If you work your way on base, that's a win.
We mentioned the speed of Kendra Falby, 2nd in career stolen bases in Florida softball history, right behind Skylar Wallace. All time, she's got 35 stolen bases this season. We'll keep an eye on her as Taylor Shoemaker at the plate. And Falby immediately taking off. Does she get there in time? They say she's safe. And we see Marissa Miller and Lily Backus look to the Georgia dugout. You do have 2 challenges. Don't know if Tony Baldwin will elect to try to review here, but it appears that Falby is safe.
I think just on these looks alone, you can see the hand. It appears to me, at least, that that left hand gets in time.
Right back at you, up the middle from Taylor Shoemaker. First contact and hit of the weekend, and it's an RBI single. Gators up 1-0. We said in the open that she was a player who was due. She had a great regional weekend, 0 for 4 until right here.
And she leads this team in home runs, 21 on the year. But look at that pitch location, almost in the right-handed batter's box. Shoemaker knowing all it took was a poke with the wheels of Kendra Falby, putting herself in scoring position with that stolen base. All Taylor Shoemaker had to do was find something through the infield.
Falby, when she comes home, it's a good thing for the Florida Gators, 17-4 overall. And the importance of her getting on base. You know, we've talked throughout this weekend just about free passes, limiting them for this Georgia staff. That was a concern and a bit of a struggle for Chelsea Wilkins' bullpen and arms throughout. and they've been able to weather the storm. They were able to come back and have that 2-1 victory, but here with a decisive game 3, you've got to play your best ball right now.
You know, Florida really was living and dying on that long ball. Even back in game 1, they capitalized on some free passes from Georgia, but the runs that were scored was because they were hitting the ball out of the ballpark. Yesterday, that did not happen. Silenced at the plate. And already seeing an adjustment here early of just more fundamental softball. Hard swings, hard contact. This is now the second time that this team is seeing Lily Backus in the circle. And some action. There's Randy rolling in the pen.
We saw a slight adjustment with this starting lineup for Tim Walsh and the Gators electing to move up Reagan Walsh's spot. She and Jocelyn Erickson flip-flop, and this one was lasered, pulled to left field. And back-to-back base hits for the Gators, 2 aboard and no out here in the bottom of the first.
It's just the sheer strength from Reagan Walsh that impresses me. I mean, per Tim Walton, this is pure power. She's a pure hitter. She's scrappy at the plate. She gets better when there's pressure involved. I mean, there is nothing, there is no situation that Reagan Walsh cannot capitalize on.
I see Walton having a quick conversation with the junior Jocelyn Erickson, who's coming up to the plate. Tony Baldwin coming out of the dugout. And remember, it was Backus who got the start yesterday, 6 1/3 innings. Again, didn't give up an earned run. 5 walks to go along with 8 strikeouts.
Hey, Tiff, this was a conversation that you and I had coming into today. Who's going to get the ball? Who will Georgia put in the circle? And I think there's a lot of ways you could have looked at this choice.
Well, Lily Backus trots out. And Randy Rolling, the other lefty on staff, coming in to try to tame the Gators. Bats when they return.
Back to home plate.
Let's take another look at that, because you saw Tony Baldwin walk out of the dugout, and we'll get another eye on it right here.
I love the fact that Jocelyn Erickson turns the body around early to get the barrel out front, but you can see it there. It's a double contact. Ball hits on the ground and back up onto the barrel. That is the 3rd sacrifice bunt attempt from Florida that's been unsuccessful this weekend. Tiff, you know me well from us being partners for so long. I'm a stickler when it comes to bunts. I think it's a fundamental part of this game that at this level has to be executed when called upon, especially on this stage. It is a detail that just has to be a sure tool in the toolbox.
So now Erickson will be swinging away. Still 0-2 as she fouls it off.
Granted, the outcome of that bunt a little unfortunate. It looked to have been a nicely executed bunt, that double hit to the barrel.
And high for ball 1. These Gators coming in as a 3 seed, the highest seed since 2018. 16th ever Super Regional. They're trying to get back to OKC for the 3rd time in the last 4 seasons.
And what a career Jocelyn Erickson has had, coming over from the University of Oklahoma. Been a mainstay in this lineup ever since becoming a Gator. We saw one of the most, at least I know for me, impressive outs at home plate yesterday. What she's done offensively for this team as a catcher as well, defensively, was the SEC.
And that one pulled far but foul.
SEC Freshman of the Year. I mean, just, again, the development over her career, very impressive. SEC Player of the Year.
National Player.
Thank
of the
you.
Year. There you go.
I gotta get my facts right.
And line right out to Tyler Ellison, the double play, and a huge turn of events for Georgia here. A much needed double play, now 2 down, and still Walsh at first. So Corby Otis now steps up to the plate. Otis, another one of those seniors. Came into the program a couple of years ago, first team All-American in the first season with the Gators. This year's SEC Scholar Athlete of the Year.
Thoracic surgery, right?
Yeah, cardiothoracic surgeon is what she is.
It's always
planning on doing in the future. That's amazing.
You know, we get to know these young women so much as athletes, but it's really cool to get to know them on a personal level, on an academic level. Corby Otis has been clutch all season long, all career long, and described the same by her teammates. Just a baller for this team. We saw a walk-off bomb earlier this year in a very tense matchup against Arkansas. Tim Walton was tossed just before her at bat.
Otis waiting on the pitch. 3-1 inside for ball 4. So Otis trots to first. Walsh moves into scoring position at second. And Ava Brown coming to the plate. When you think back to last year's SEC Tournament Championship, going on to the Women's College World Series, it was the combination of Brown and Rothrock. All year long for the Gators in their freshman campaign. Now following up here in her sophomore year. And Brown, who has just been on fire over the last dozen games or so. She has launched the ball out of the park 7 different times. We've already seen it here this weekend. Had that 3-run shot, or rather 2-run homer back on Friday.
You could see Ava Brown right there signaling that that felt low. And that was a called strike, but she felt like that was out of her range.
And this one, I don't know if it hit her at the end of the bat. It looks like it just hit the nub of the bat.
I mean, no salesmanship there to give us any indication that this was contact with the body.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, into the bat.
In an instance like that, you want to see a little bit more.
I'm putting on a little theatrics if that's me. Although now with replay, no reason they can't go look at that. That's one of those back in my day moments. Back in my day.
Not only
would I drop to the ground. I was an actress.
Yes, a thespian. We have a thespian in the booth, folks. The payoff pitch. Fouls it off.
You and I have had those conversations. Just what an impact even replay has been on this game. It's hard to even imagine that there was a time where that wasn't part of the experience. How important that's been to getting calls right on the field.
100%. The chopper through the 5-6 hole. Reagan Walsh is held up at third base. And so the 2-out single from Ava Brown loads the bases here for the Gators.
This inning has been a pass the bat mentality. Starts with the hit by pitch. It's the free bag. We know that's been the Achilles heel for Georgia all year long, and then it's been just chipping away at home plate for the Gators. 3 singles. That unlucky double play off the bat of Jocelyn Erickson.
This one popped up by Mia Williams and out of play.
To me, Tiffany, looking at this opportunity, even with 2 outs on the board, if I'm Tim Walton, I want to see Mia Williams capitalize. 13 runners left on base yesterday, 9 runners left on base in game 1. Here is a moment, bases juice, 2 outs, find a way to cash it in.
The sophomore puts it on the ground. Charging in is Emily Digby, and just in time to end the inning. But not before the Gators get on the board thanks to a Taylor Shoemaker RBI single.
History in that chase of another Women's College World Series appearance runs deep.
Popped up to Holtorf. And Jaden Goodwin was quickly retired. Now, to your point, Florida owning the overall season series history. But in postseason, they've come through Gainesville a couple of times, have the Georgia Bulldogs back in 2016 and last in 2021. And shocked the Gators, swept them both times. So they've got a 6-2 advantage here in the postseason and Super Regionals, but we could very well see either Georgia rise to the occasion again or Florida turn the tide here.
Well, if history serves as a mirror of what maybe is to come, some foreshadowing.
Great glove work by Reagan Walsh. They're going to say she is out as Sarah Gordon moved sharply down the first base line. JT D'Amico is trying to get some greater clarification. Another look here.
I'm going to be shocked if this doesn't go to replay. To me, it looks like Reagan Walsh's glove takes her over the chalk line.
We're going to have a quick conversation with Steve Gould and Joe Havenhill about the thought to challenge, and you can challenge foul or fair.
He's going to go to the replay.
Georgia is challenging the ruling on the field of a fair ball. This call is under review.
I haven't even seen the slow-mo breakdown of this footage yet, and I can already tell you this is going to be one that's splitting hairs, just trying to figure out where that ball is in relation to the chalk line as it's being fielded in the glove of Reagan Walsh. That bounce is fair, but where is the ball in the air when it is gloved by first baseman Reagan Walsh? This is a great look, too. Oh, man. The call on the field is fair. Is there enough evidence there to overturn it to be foul?
But I believe they called Sarah Gordon out.
Fair ball, out on the field.
Right. But judging by that angle, that last angle where her glove was when she received it, does it pull her over the line? It appeared it was really close, and so you've got to have conclusive evidence to overturn it. I'm going to tell you from that angle, while very tough to see, it looks like it was over in foul territory. This is the better look of the two.
Yeah, I'm trying to see where the body of that little tiny yellow dot is as the glove makes contact. That's a great look there.
Yeah.
Tight. To me, it looks maybe like that ball crosses over the chalk line when the glove makes contact. Is it enough, though? That is the question. Is it enough to overturn the call on the field, which is that there is an out at first base and that ball was fielded in fair territory?
We have a decision, and now we are going to await the call here and find out the outcome.
After review, the call on the field is upheld. It is a fair ball. Runner is out. Georgia's first challenge.
And Aaron, again, it goes back to your point, as the challenge unsuccessful for Tony Baldwin. He has one remaining. Was there enough conclusive evidence to overturn it? And they say no. So 2 down. And Sarah Gordon retired, and Emily Digby, the shortstop for the Bulldogs, now standing in.
There's so much strategy, too, I feel like, in when to use that replay, when to use a challenge. I think we could pick apart our thoughts on that as well. It is early in this ball game, the second inning, where we are in the order. What has Sarah Gordon done throughout this tournament that you would want to burn that challenge to get her back up to home plate? It's a one-run ball game. I mean, there's a million things that you could dissect in when to use a challenge. At the end of the day, it's the intuition of that coach. Is this something that I want to go to replay for? And think about the momentum shift there. If that falls in favor of Georgia, Sarah Gordon pulled back up to the plate, hitting .333 on the year, 9 home runs. That could be a momentum change for this Bulldog team. Emily Digby now standing in the batter's box, one of the hottest bats through NCAA play, hitting over .550 this NCAA tournament.
A full count. And the pitch sent into right field. Shoemaker is underneath it, and that ends the inning. A 10-pitch inning for Keegan Rothrock, with the Gators coming up the bat on either side. The latest to punch their ticket. Carlin Pickens and Tennessee taking it on OU on Thursday. Remember, the Lady Vols bested the Sooners during the regular season. Kinley Cahalan, the junior, came up with a hit yesterday. Out of Trixville, Alabama. And we got into this conversation just about the type of player that Tim Walton likes to recruit and find in his program, whether he's recruiting you as a freshman coming in or transferring into this program. And Cahalan was one of those players that was a right fit coming over for Bama.
Spent 2 years as the starting shortstop for the Tide, and took her time in the portal, per Tim Walton. Said he was biting his nails towards the end of that journey, and it took one conversation, really, one long phone call, the right questions asked. This is something that Tim Walton really takes a lot of pride in, is those questions, making sure that he puts all the cards on the table. Typically, when a player enters the transfer portal, they're looking for something. There's an experience or role that they are looking for, and man, it has been a fit for Kinley Cahalan.
On the 1-2 pitch, and pulled foul down the right field line, and the fans on the berm and on the grass enjoying themselves. It's a full house here in Presley Stadium. 93 degrees, humidity, some clouds in the sky, but knowing what's at stake, that one's going to be a fair ball. And a base hit for Cahalan. Well, here's tonight's Sunday Night Baseball matchup, the series finale between the Dodgers and the Mets. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Radio. Our coverage begins with baseball tonight. Sunday Night Countdown following our action here in Gainesville. Mets defeated the Dodgers yesterday, 5-2. Up by Holtorf, so the sac bunt unsuccessful here.
Not only is that the 4th bunt attempt that has not been executed by the Gators, that is the 2nd pop-up bunt just by Riley Holtorf in the 9-hole. She's been asked to execute that play twice and has not been able to get the ball on the ground.
Brings us back to the top of the order. Kendra Falby, who was hit by a pitch last inning.
Only the 2nd base hit on the weekend for Kinley Cahalan. This is the 2nd inning in a row that the Gators have gotten a leadoff on.
And this time, it's Falby who pops out, and Lua Williams is there. So 2 down after Cahalan with that leadoff single here for Cahalan. Let's see what Shoemaker could do. Last time she was up, had that RBI single, but a theme throughout is the runners left on base, as you've mentioned, Aaron.
This is without a doubt the adjustment that has to be made for Florida. I would be shocked if that topic was not discussed after, at minimum, yesterday's game, but I mentioned 9 left on in game 1. Obviously, they took the loss in game 2, but even 9 left on. I mean, that is meat on the bone.
Shoemaker, the RBI leader, who produced the lone run of the game last inning. That RBI single. She's closing in on single season records here at Florida for both runs batted in and home runs. On the 2-0 pitch. Take strike 1.
Rolling, trying to work that curveball away to these lefties. Florida only batting .277 on the year against left-handed pitchers, .350 against righties.
Fouls it off. And a player admittedly coming out of high school, Esperanza in Fullerton, California. Tim Walton said, hey, this was a young lady who was maybe overlooked by some, but they knew that she was #1 in their books because the way that she has produced this season, she has quickly made noise. Top 3 NFCA Freshman of the Year finalist, and another base hit for Shoemaker.
Went 0 for yesterday. I am so impressed now. 2 back-to-back at-bats and 2 base hits that have been pitches out of the zone, Tiffany. Not just a good hitter that can hit good pitches, but a great hitter that can hit borderline pitches. And she's a freshman.
But when you look at this Gator lineup, the way that these batters are protected from one batter to another, and Reagan Walsh, another great example of that, just so deep.
You already mentioned this, but the swap in this lineup, there's been 2 changes for the starting 9 for Florida. Reagan Walsh moving to the 3-hole, flip-flopping now with Jocelyn Erickson on deck in the 4-hole.
On the 0-2, and into the glove of Goodnight in center field. So a couple of runners left on base here for the Gators. They're still on top. 2025 Women's College World Series. Go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. Marissa Miller, first pitch swinging. And flies out to center field, 1 down. Aaron, you and I have had some really good conversations just about the percentages or chances that Oklahoma can do a 5-peat. And from what you've seen in the field, who presents that greatest challenge?
I feel like my answer changes every single day, especially this postseason. I mean, what Nyjah Kennedy did in Tallahassee with Texas Tech, 166 pitches through 2 complete games. That to me speaks volumes. You can't not put Tennessee in that race with Carlin Pickens in the circle. There is so much, I feel like, to watch, to tune into right now across our sport, because per our discussions, even just behind closed doors, it's not a sure thing. You know, calling a spade here, it has been Oklahoma on lock the last 4 years. They graduated 10 seniors last season, one of the best graduating classes to ever come through our sport. 4 national championships. Can you imagine winning every single year in your college career? And this team, Oklahoma, has had to reinvent themselves a little bit. Same offensive numbers that we know and have seen in the past years, but a little bit of a slower start in the circle. Sam Landry for Oklahoma carrying the majority of those innings. Kristen Deal on the left side also sharing some work.
And Cass Story on that 3-2 pitch and gunned over by Holtorf at short. And 2 down.
What do you think? I mean, we've seen a lot of softball this season.
Well, I do think it's wide open. I mean, I think that's what makes it fun. You want the parity when you go into this part of the year, and so it's I'm not exactly sure. Certainly, you think about a team like Florida, who's been there, who's got that experience and pedigree, a perennial power. Is that one line into left field, a 2-out base hit for Mua Williams. But also, I think of a team like, you know, Georgia, who's kind of coming in as an underdog, right? Unseeded in this year's tournament, trying to get back for the first time since 2021. Can they shake things up if they're able to advance?
How about Arkansas with Bree Ellis at the plate? She's one of the 3 finalists for National Players of the Year. That'll be a game 3 tonight.
And I'm also looking at a team like either South Carolina, UCLA, you know, South Carolina trying to get there for the first time, 30-plus years, UCLA. Obviously, the winningest program. I mean, so that's what makes today so fun, because you don't know, and that carries into OKC next week. And then Texas, who's been in the Champ Series the last couple of seasons, facing off against Oklahoma. Can't forget about the Longhorns.
I mean, to me, also looking statistically at what Florida has done all year, strong in all categories. Defense, offense, pitching.
And how about some great pitching there from Kennedy, who's been there before, previously with Stanford, now taking the Red Raiders. Looking program history. It's exciting when you can build in a new place.
It's exciting when you've got the resources to invest in this sport. And boy, did they make an investment, the $1 million arm with Nyjah Kennedy. It is so impressive to see these young women move the needle for not just softball, but for female athletics, women in sport. I know a topic you and I discuss at length, meaningful to both of us. You've been doing a lot of work in your own communities, pouring into women in sports.
Because I'll use a line from Ari Chambers. Women's sports is just so important. Jocelyn Erickson gets it past the backhand of Tyler Ellison with a leadoff base hit.
Gator girls, stay hot. Well, it is steamy. And they have been hot all year. Talked about the power, too, with Florida, over 107 home runs. Third in the remaining super regional teams. Just a lot of pop in this order. Didn't see a home run yesterday. Saw 2 in game 1.
They came into this weekend averaging nearly 9 runs in the tournament. They won 3 games via run rule to advance out of the regional round here into supers. And this is a high-powered offense for the Gators.
Even just looking at the starting 9, Tiffany, only 3 batters in this starting 9 have less than double-digit home runs.
Inside to Otis, they've gotten the leadoff runner on in each of the 3 innings. Leadoff single here by Jocelyn Erickson. Corby Otis looks at strike 2.
And the same location. She's watched 2 balls on the outer half of this strike zone called as strikes. To me, that tells me she's setting on the curveball in the inner half of the zone and gets it.
This one high into left field, and Otis is retired, and Erickson retreats back to first. 1 away. You know, CA Hall of Fame inductee from 2024, and Tim Walton will have an opportunity to talk with him going into the top of the 4th.
I haven't seen that off-speed much out of the hand of Rolling. Definitely a part of her arsenal. She's got the curveball. She's able to go up in the zone at the knees, but can pull the string. Sound like a broken record at this point, but I haven't said it yet this game. I've talked about it the last 2. You have to be able to change speeds against a team like Florida. I mean, I think I could make a case with anyone you face at this level. You've got to be able to have a changeup, but specifically a home run hitting squad, you have to disrupt timing.
And that was so important when we talked with Tony Baldwin during the regular season about the need for his 2 lefty arms to be able to change speeds. He really loved the job that Rolling did during regional play to help them get here.
Well, Lily Backus did a great job with that yesterday. The off-speed curveball paired with the changeup, 3 speeds with that arm. Florida did not have an answer for that pitch.
The 1-2 to Brown. And fouls it off.
Ava Brown was one of those home runs back in game 1. Two-way player. Haven't seen her throw as much this season. Not as many innings as we've seen from Brown in years past.
She was 16-5 a season ago with 124 plus innings. This one again skying into the outfield, and Brown is retired. Did you feel like at points when we saw Florida over the last 2 days that they were pressing at points? I mean, having 3 runners left on base back in the first, 2 last inning. Did you feel at points they were pressing?
I think if you look at when they have scored, just in this game, it's when things have been made simple. Let's not try and be a hero here. Let's not try and put the ball out of the park. Let's simplify the game, make it a little bit more bite-sized. Let's hunt pitches. Let's make good, solid contact. Let's get the ball in the strike zone. Let's commit to a game plan. And that, I believe, is what they executed well in the first.
Only 2 after Nia Williams gets a piece of that.
Same thing can be true for Georgia. Just looking at how they scored yesterday, the lone runs, 2 runs on the board were via the home run ball. 2 solo shots, that was all it took for them to collect game 2.
The 0-2 pitch. And the backhand and the hop off of the glove of Mia Williams. And Mia Williams is safe with the single. As Mia Williams couldn't handle that one.
And this was the conversation we just had, Tiffany, of hard swings, hard contact, good things are going to happen. What does Mia Williams do? Well, she barrels up this ball hard down the third base line, and Mia Williams unable to put the leather on it. We've had fun with those two names.
Yes, we
all
have.
weekend.
Cahalan, who singled her last time up, one of 4 lefty batters in this Gator lineup.
Came over from the University of Alabama, said, I want to play for a national championship. I want to be challenged, and felt that the fit was immediate after a phone call with Tim Walton. Took a lot of visits. Tim said it was a long journey, but it was a sure thing once they linked up.
Florida 3 for 5 today with 2 outs in terms of base hits. Cahalan has a runner in scoring position. And that check swing, half swing by Cahalan, tries to beat it out, and they say she's out at first base. And immediately, Tim Walton comes onto the field and signals for a challenge or review here.
I got to tell you, Tiff,
Being challenged by Florida. The play is under review.
blind eye, I thought that was safe at first base. So not shocked that Tim Walton immediately goes to the headset. I can't imagine this. Yeah, this has got to get overturned. Call on the field is out. I feel like there is, without a doubt, enough evidence there to make a change. Foot hits the bag. Yeah, ball's not into the back pocket of that glove. I mean, it is close.
Yeah,
it definitely is a close play, but I don't believe the ball has made it to the back of the web by the time Cahalan touches first base. Also important to note for the young eyes watching, the importance of hitting the front of the bag when you're running down to first base, giving yourself a chance. See the foot hit the front edge of that bag. If she hits the middle or the back half of first base, she's out.
So great angle and look there. It was definitely a bang play there at first. And as they're reviewing it, if the call is overturned, that would load the bases for the Gators. And Riley Holtorf, who's at the plate, and she's looking to break through this weekend. This would be a critical opportunity for her, as Walton just reminding her of that. A great opportunity again, once more, if Florida is able to get the call overturned.
And no hits on the weekend yet for Riley Holtorf in the 9 spot.
So I think we've got an answer. Let's listen in.
After review, the call on the field has been changed. The runner is safe. Florida's first challenge.
Walton successful in the challenge. A couple of base hits now for Kinley Cahalan. Smiles there. Now we'll see if Riley Holtorf, the 9-hole hitter, can drive in her teammates.
0 for 7 on the weekend. And the confidence still remains. Tim Walton giving Holtorf this opportunity. The beauty of postseason, it does not matter what you've done in the past. It doesn't matter the stats. It doesn't matter the situation. If you get the opportunity to do the damage, can you execute? Can you find a way?
Rolling tried to paint that outside corner. And a big moment here for Randy Rolling in the circle, who came in relief of Lily Backus. 4 batters into this ball game. And gets the strikeout. Big moment there for the sophomore. Bulldogs get out of a jam. 3 left stranded for the Gators.
First strikeout of the game. When you got a lineup now stepping in for the second time, the adjustments that they're gonna make, it is such a chess match between pitcher and offense as game plans and pitch sequences start to develop as the innings progress. In game 1, Rothrock was lights out on the inside part of the plate, hammered under the hands against the Bulldogs. It was that location, both against lefties and righties, that was lights out. This is an arm too, Tiffany, that's known for a rise ball. She's known to float and spin the ball up in the zone, but was able just to really rely on hitting spots.
She was so stingy against these Georgia batters. She had a no-hitter at one point, had 5 scoreless innings before the Bulldogs were able to break through. She walked out with a 6-1 win on Friday and gets the first batter of the 4th to retire. That's Lindy Ray Davis. I have an opportunity to chop it up with Tony Baldwin in the bottom half of this inning.
It's so fun to get a chance to chat with his players, and we asked the question, what is it like to play for Tony Baldwin? We immediately got giggles. That was the first answer we got, was a lot of smiles, a lot of giggles, and just a lot of admiration for this man. Said he's a girl dad, he's human first, softball player last, cares about us as women, wants to develop us for life beyond just the sport of softball. I mean, it was clear that these young women love to play for Coach Baldwin.
And two, I love the way that he described his team in terms of their resilience, their fight. And a lot of positivity as Tyler Ellison is caught looking, frozen right there. Rothrock with her 2nd strikeout of the game.
Now continuing to settle into the strike zone, keeps this ball at the knees. You can see the screwball spin. That pitch has been money all weekend long. We spoke about the injuries earlier this game that Rothrock has battled. Her Tim Walton looked the best he's ever seen her in February, January through offseason, and then hitting the ground running in February, but was out the majority of March. Kind of an undisclosed injury. We know she battles with compartment syndrome in that leg, had surgery in high school to try and mitigate the pain and the symptoms, and has really been managing the work through the back half of this season.
The 0-2 pitch to Jaden Goodwin. So Goodwin, junior out of Paris, Kentucky, AKA Shorty. Gets a piece of that one, stays alive. She was teammates, or rather her team, Jaden Goodwin's team playing travel ball, faced off against Keegan Rothrock to get to the championship PGF final, 12U division. That's where Tony Baldwin first had an opportunity to see Goodwin. He's got 2 balls and 2 strikes. Rothrock readies. Count full. And we always love to hear from players, what's your approach when you're at the plate? Now a full count situation, she says, no matter the situation, calm eyes, calm mind. And that one grounded over to third base in a 1-2-3 inning. We'll get an opportunity to talk to the Georgia head coach, Tony Baldwin.
For the Gators. Notice the infield pinched in, playing in front of the base paths, trying to give themselves the best possible opportunity to defend this speed. 35 stolen bases, well 36 now on the season. Already a stolen bag today, actually came around to score off a Taylor Shoemaker single and works her way on.
The walk from Randy Rolling, and the Gators staying loose. You talked about that dance, and indeed they are doing just that. I like the coordinated movement there.
There's got to be some practice, right? So they can debut that in the game. Taylor Shoemaker's had a day, 2 for 2 in this game 3, was 0 for yesterday.
The Gators RBI leader, one of the top 3 National Freshman of the Year finalists, and Shoemaker made good after the leadoff batter was aboard back in the first inning. To your point, Aaron, they've gotten the leadoff batter on each of the 4 innings now. And Shoemaker takes ball 2.
But with 21 home runs on the year, makes sense. She collected 4 walks in game 1 against Georgia. Not seeing a lot of strikes. Already today, Tiffany, the 2 base hits, both of those balls well outside of the strike zone. We've mentioned just the range of Florida, their ability to reach and throw the barrel at things that fall outside of a textbook strike. I think of my history of calling softball, my history of playing the game, some of the best offenses in the nation are able to hit balls that aren't necessarily strikes and hit them well. I think of the greats like Jocelyn Allo, Lauren Chamberlain, Amanda Lorenz, one of the best I have ever seen at hitting doubles off the wall with a ball 2 balls outside of the strike zone.
Well, some activity in the Georgia bullpen as Randy Rolling now leads off the bottom of the 4th with a couple of walks here to both Falby and Shoemaker.
That is Destin Howard in the bullpen. Junior, this is the fastest arm in the staff for Georgia, 73 miles an hour.
We saw Lily Backus lead off the game for the Dogs. And then Rolling in relief here, 2 lefty arms, and Reagan Walsh, the senior, at the plate.
There's the off-speed from Rolling. And now that's a seed that's been planted, and Walsh knowing that she's got to protect that.
The 0-1 pitch. Good for strike 2.
I'd go back to the changeup. Rolling hasn't thrown that pitch a ton. It's not a card that she's had to play quite a bit just here in game 3. She didn't play it a lot when we saw her yesterday. Excuse me, game 1.
When we look at Reagan Walsh, 2-time All-SEC first-team selection, one of the feared hitters in this lineup for the Gators, one of the top RBI producers in Gator history. And in this one in foul territory, and right there, Emma Castorius there to catch it, and Walsh sits down.
It's important to remind, too, for those of you tuning in, Game 1, Florida takes the W but leaves 9 runners on base. Game 2, yesterday, takes a loss, a close loss, and leaves 13 runners on, and already here through 4 has left on 8.
Jocelyn Erickson, the great Gator catcher, at the plate now. 8 base hits scattered through this Florida lineup. That 1 run, they're wanting to add some more to that total. This group trying to get back to the Women's College World Series for the 13th time in program history. And Tim Walton hoping to see his crew go back-to-back to OKC. Erickson pops it up, shallow right field. Tyler Ellison is there, and credit Randy Rolling for getting 2 big bats out here for the Gators after giving leadoff walks.
Chelsea Wilkinson, now pitching coach, coming out to have a word with Randy Rolling. You know, it has been Houdini-level magic what the Georgia pitching staff has done, getting out of bases-loaded jams, runners in scoring position, no outs, less than 2 outs. I think of 4 different opportunities yesterday where Lily Backus was back against the wall and dug her way out of a jam. And Randy Rolling potentially an out away here of getting herself out of an inning where she walked the 2 first batters she faced.
Well, she had that job to come in relief for Backus back at the first inning. First pitch, or first at batter, was Jocelyn Erickson, who hit into that double play. Bases loaded then for the Gators in the first and the third. Now 2 on here, 2 out for Corby Otis. Otis, one of those great action leaders for the Gators. See the seniors' numbers throughout the NCAA tournament, hitting right at 400. And another pop-up, and this one handled by Digby from shortstop. So another opportunity for Florida squandered there. Credit Randy Rolling and the Bulldogs defense. Ball game, so the Georgia Bulldogs very much in this one. They picked up just 2 hits against Keegan Rothrock in Friday's loss. Bulldogs came back with the timely hits yesterday. A couple of solo home runs to help them notch a 2-1 win and push for a Game 3. Starting off here with Sarah Gordon, what does this Bulldog offense need to do against Rothrock?
Well, I think that it's the same adjustment for both of these squads, which is doing the little things. When called upon, lay down a bunt, find your way on early, set the table, simplify the game. It's almost like an extra level of focus that has to be present. In fact, talking with Tony Baldwin early this year about the focus of this group, he said, sometimes I feel like we just go a little autopilot late in weekends. Throughout entire SEC play, more than 6 times it came down to the rubber match, a Game 3. They went 0 for 6 in the rubber match.
Leadoff walk there to Sarah Gordon, and he said, look, my group was in these games. I mean, we were pushing to the final out of a game. First time in program history with no SEC series wins. But they were battling all throughout.
Well, and he said sometimes it literally came down to a pitch, to a swing, to an out. And that's kind of how this ball game feels. Again, bunt attempts. I will die on that hill. That is a part of this game that just has to populate, especially on a big stage. And the opportunity to move a runner the tying run into scoring position. We'll see if Emily Digby goes back to that bunt. It feels like Georgia's, they're in striking distance. I mean, one swing could change this game, and that has been something they have tried to turn the corner on all year long.
And one of the things that Tony Baldwin talked about in terms of the strength of his team this year, their ability to move on and find ways of optimism. Hey, we've got to get better. And they have had their chances, come up short, but here in the most important game of the season, as you mentioned, Aaron, just trailing by a run and still some ball game left. The Bulldogs hopeful that they can execute in these moments. Now Emily Digby down 1-2, so gonna have to swing away here.
This is such a game of momentum, and it's those moments, 2 different attempts to get a bunt down, unsuccessful, and then ends in a strikeout. It feels like it just pulls a little bit of the wind out of the sails.
Third strikeout for Keegan Rothrock.
It's a really good location for Rothrock. She goes again with the curveball away. It's exactly where she went with the bunt off the end of the bat against Gordon, and she hammers that ladder out of the strike zone for the swing through.
Brings up Marissa Miller, who fouls it off, the junior out of Suwanee, Georgia. Catcher behind the plate, who has also moved into the starting role this season. And made the most of her opportunities on a daily basis in Athens. The pitch. And Miller puts it on the ground to Holtorf. They try to turn the double play and successfully do so. 6-4-3. To make it to the Women's College World Series, the winner would advance and face 6 seed Texas Thursday from Devon Park. 6 teams rather have already punched their ticket to OKC. Ole Miss and Arkansas currently in action as well.
Ole Miss just taking the lead 5-4. Arkansas clawing back from a 4-run deficit. Still a lot of ball left. Bottom of the 4th inning.
Eva Brown at the plate, Nia Williams on deck, and Kenley Cahalan in the hole for the Gators this inning. The 3-0 offering. And 4 straight balls, and Ava Brown walks to first. Well, it's a Memorial Day tradition. The NCAA Division I Men's Lacrosse National Championship game is on ESPN. Top-seeded Cornell takes on number 2 seed Maryland Terrapins for the title. Coverage begins Monday at 1 Eastern from Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Cornell defeating Penn State yesterday. Maryland downing Syracuse. So the senior, Brooke Barnard, at first base. Correction, Kylie Shaw at first base as the pinch runner.
Yet another leadoff on for Florida. That makes 5 of 5 innings where the leadoff has found their way on first base.
Nia Williams, who singled her last time up, fouls it back behind home plate.
And you got to credit Randy Rolling in the circle. Giving up some free passes early. She and her defense have found a way to get out of some jams. walked the first 2 last inning, induced 3 pop-ups to get out of it.
And in talking with Tony Baldwin, he said, hey, look, we've been pitching better since the last couple of weekends of the regular season. Randy Rowling had some changes in our mechanics, and the force out at second base, the play made in time from Mua Williams to Tyler Ellison.
He even recalled that Ole Miss series, which you and I covered 2 of the 3 of those games. In that first game, there was 22 walks between those 2 teams. It was an ugly day in the circle, I think, for both of those pitching staffs, and he even drew on that weekend. He said it was actually kind of us getting over the hump. Chelsea Wilkinson making some changes in the circle with our arms, and we've been better ever since.
And a weak one off the bat of Cahalan, but an even greater diving effort from Castori. Castori was right there to rob the hit.
This almost looked like it happened in slow motion. Castori giving full body sacrifice to this play. I mean, just barely clips into the web of that glove. My goodness, what a grab. I think that would have made it through the 3-4 hole.
Just to your point of what you were just mentioning about Tony Baldwin saying how the pitching and defense has stepped up, and he credited Emma Castori for the job that she's done moving into first base in the latter part of the season. The 9-hole hitter, Riley Holtorf. And Holtorf gets a hold of this one to left, over the fence, and it's out! Holtorf, who had not had a hit the entire weekend, comes up with a 2-run blast.
Tiffany, this is what postseason's all about. 0 for 8 on the weekend. This ball is thrown down Broadway, and Riley Holtorf salivating for an opportunity to find her power, and she does. Off the bat. I mean, you knew it off the bat. Oh, the way that feels. I mean, I have goosebumps. It is just a weight of the world off your shoulders.
We showed images earlier and themed it the joy of softball. That was a great example right there. Holtorf was due. And tacking on that much needed insurance for Florida here to stretch it out to a now 3-run lead.
Listen, I get it. I think if you are an outsider viewing it, you'd think, man, another opportunity, 0 for 8 on the weekend. That is the confidence, right? That is the intuition and the rapport that Tim Walton has in Riley Holtorf, and it pays off. Sometimes you just know. You know when to stay persistent. And you gave her the shot there. Those were some big insurance runs.
Falby, and the speed of Falby not going to catch up. So 2-out single from Kendra Falby.
Mark my words, you're probably going to see Riley Holtorf go on a tear if her season continues. If this score holds and they punch their ticket to the Women's College World Series, you're liable to see that 9-hole go off. I mean, that might have just broken open the floodgates for her.
Well, Taylor Shoemaker, who put up the first run of the game, thanks to an RBI single, scored Kendra Falby. I mean, that 2-run homer from Holtorf extends the lead out, but Shoemaker, who's gone 2 for 2 today, walked her last time up. And all smiles in the dugout. Maybe those dances worked too.
One of my favorite combinations is the home run followed up by the short game. It's a killer formula, one that just feels like it's salt in the wound if you're defense, and Kendra Falby does it. Kind of that swinging bunt. She's been focusing on pounding the ball into the ground all year long. Such a fun dance to have with your teammates. Knowing exactly what to follow up that bomb with.
And that's something that Falby has just done all throughout her career. And provided some leadership too for first-year players like a Taylor Shoemaker.
And Shoemaker 2 for 2. Had a walk back in the fourth. That was her 5th walk of the weekend. Not seeing a lot of pitches over the plate. And frankly, the 2 balls she's hit were out of the strike zone.
And this one sends it to right, and it's out of here. Taylor Shoemaker with the 2-run bomb. 22nd home run of the season, tying a single season record at Florida. Another look.
This is another one of those swings I think that was just bound to happen for Shoemaker. Went 0 for yesterday. 2 base hits on today, but not solid contact. This had to feel good off the bat. She is a pull-to-pull power described by Tim Walton. It is not gap to gap. It is pull side to pull side, baby, all day long. That is her 22nd home run of the year. Leads this team.
Well, the freshman who has made her mark here in her first year in Gainesville, rolling out of the circle. Destin Howard takes over. We'll tell you more when we come back. Home run's contagious. Well, the home run ball contagious here in Gainesville.
What was 8 left on base through game 3. Finally, the floodgates open, and it starts with the 9-hole Holtorf and the freshman Taylor Shoemaker. 2 2-run bombs, and we all of a sudden have a 5-0 ball game in the 5th.
We had over an hour weather delay, and since then Florida has unleashed 4 runs here. Bottom 5. Destin Howard now in the circle, the junior out of Macon, Georgia, taking the reins. And the pitch to Reagan Walsh, and Walsh swings through that one, strike 1.
A big change of literal pace in the circle. 73 miles an hour from Destin Howard. Right-handed arm compared to Lily Backus and Randy Rolling from the left side. She works north and south. You're gonna see rise ball, you're gonna see drop ball, late bite, hard bite. It has given Georgia a lot of good innings as of late.
And smacked in the left. Great contact there made by Reagan Walsh. 8 of the 12 hits so far today have come with 2 outs for the Gators.
A little more freedom right now from Florida. I think a topic of discussion between you and I was just feeling like Gators were pressing at the plate, trying to do too much.
You can feel and hear the crowd sensing that the Gators, if they hold on, could make a return trip to the Women's College World Series.
That was the pitch right there, a 2-0 count. You see what's at stake. These are 2 postseason teams. 16 super regionals for Florida. Last year was their 12th time to the Women's College World Series. They won their 6th SEC tournament. They won over 50 games that season. And the talent has only continued to get better.
So many returning faces like a Jocelyn Erickson. And this Gator group wants to join Oregon, Oklahoma, Texas, Texas Tech, Tennessee, and UCLA. All who have punched their tickets to OKC.
That's the same level of expectation for Georgia. 3rd straight super. This is their 14th all-time, and they've been to what I call the promised land in Oklahoma City, the Women's College World Series, 5 times.
The last one they had to walk through Gainesville en route to OKC.
It scared the people behind home plate.
Two on, 2 out. Corby Otis, the 9th batter of this inning, is due up. We've long talked about the standard, the expectation that's been set here since Tim Walton took over now in his 20th season. Won back-to-back national championships in 2014 and 2015. And the field is wide open this season. The question mark was, could Oklahoma repeat? They're gonna try to defend in that title for a 5th consecutive year. Can they do it? There's 7 other teams that want to potentially challenge for that and hope to say no.
Well, the first team they're going to face in Oklahoma City is Tennessee, who took 2 of the 3 during SEC play. Carlin Pickens taking them down twice. The same was said for Alabama in the Super Regional. Alabama winning that series in Tuscaloosa against Oklahoma, and that Super Regional ended in a run rule. 13-2 win yesterday for Oklahoma.
Co-champs out of the SEC in their first season, and that right there, Corby Otis is out. The strikeout for Destin Howard, but not before. It's the Florida Gators tacking on 4 more. They're up by 5. One hit so far today, and she's got to face off against Hannah Davila, the pinch hitter for the Bulldogs right here. the sophomore out of Flossmoor, Illinois. And we've seen her already in a pinch hitting situation this weekend. Comes in again for Emma Castori in the 8-hole.
One of the things that just jacks me up, fires me up, is when I see a pinch hitter get a chance to step into the box, and the first thing she does when she sees a pitch in the zone is pull trigger, and already we've seen her take 2 hard hacks.
The 0-2 goes up and tries to chase, swings that one, and sits down. The strikeout for Rothrock.
It's 4th of the day for Rothrock. She's rocking. Struggled a little bit yesterday. We saw her battling through sweaty hand, little bit of a blister maybe on the finger. Saw her kind of messing with it in the dugout. Well, it hasn't bothered her today. She has been in full control now through 5 innings. Saw Nigeri Kennedy working with a little bit of a blister. It seems to be a common occurrence in pitchers. Game 1 of this series, she had Rothrock, had the trainer come out, put a little Band-Aid on the finger, trying to get a little traction on the hand.
She knew the ball was going to be in her hand this entire weekend, and when we talked with Tim Walton, he said just that. She was going to be the one that was leading the way again. And that time off that you mentioned that she couldn't pick up a softball, just really helped to reload on that mental game. And that was a close one. The home crowd wanted that one.
And everybody up in arms. Too close for me to take if I'm standing in the batter's box.
Moore Williams swinging at that one. Back-to-back strikeouts for Rothrock.
To me, the only word I can think of right now is freedom for Florida. Finally, the floodgates open offensively, and you are seeing Keegan Rothrock just slice the zone, hammering the strike zone against Georgia. She's been 3 up, 3 down the last 2 innings and pacing to do that again here in the 6th.
Well, time running out for the seniors. Dallas Goodnight, one of the 4 on this team. They've given so much to this program. Just been a well-rounded leader. And this one is gonna drop. So the 2-out single for Dallas Goodnight. And she's not done just yet. She's hoping that her Bulldogs can rally back here. Just the 2nd hit of the ball game for the Dogs.
To me, that at-bat is a senior that knows what's on the line. 2 strikeouts in front of her. It's late in this game. The impact of having a young woman with 30 stolen bases now on base. Another grad senior, Lindy Ray Davis, in the box. Homered yesterday. A lot of loyalty in this jersey.
She's come up with big hits and big moments. Obviously, you mentioned her solo home run yesterday, which was so important. Got the Bulldogs on the board, and then Emily Digby added another to help them come out with the dub Saturday.
That's Stephanie Van Brankel-Protho, first season pitching coach, coming over from Memphis. Actually was the pitching coach at Alabama from 2012 to 2021. And this is a young woman that coached some pretty incredible All-Americans, likes of Montana Fouts and Osorio. By the way, Alexis Osorio with the most filthy rise ball I've ever seen. She ate my lunch with that pitch.
Van Brankel-Protho, who was also a great pitcher herself at Alabama, was the 2006 SEC Pitcher of the Year. Has that chat with Rothrock. And ready to go again. And then D-Ray Davis back to Rothrock, and that ends the inning. So a hit allowed, one left on base, nothing pushed across, still a 5-0 shutout for Florida.
So it's Oklahoma and Florida at the top of those ranks remaining in this tournament.
Well, Ava Brown, who started off last inning with a walk, leads it off here. Bottom 6. Rachel Gibson now, the new pitcher in the circle, a senior. Potentially in her last game in a Georgia uniform. Her numbers here on the season, as we saw her in game 1 as well this weekend.
Yeah, another arm for this staff that mixes speeds really well. And a young woman that, described by Tony Baldwin, is what coaching is all about. Has grown so much since coming to Georgia.
And induces the ground ball and retires Brown.
Personal development has been lights out. I mean, again, Coach Baldwin just went into depth with you and I about what a joy it has been coaching this young woman.
Transfer, fought for a time here at Georgia. Graduated earlier this month. And to the left side again, it gets through for Mia Williams. 2 singles today for Williams. And Mamma Mia, you like that? That's fun. You think that's Mama?
We love the nicknames. We love the play on words. We love it all. There's been some good nicknames this season that we've discovered. Goodwin for Georgia, that's Shorty.
I was waiting for the tonic water for Digby.
Tonic water for Digby. Well, another one is just between these two head coaches. Long time friendship between Tony Baldwin and Tim Walton.
The toss over and getting the force out at second base as the pinch hitter Cassidy McClellan is at first. And what's their connection there? We heard a little something about
we did.
Room Dogs?
Room Dog was the nickname that Tim Walton said to us when we had asked him about the friendship with Tony Baldwin. These are two coaches that spent some time coaching the women's national team dating all the way back to 2019. Have traveled to France, Chile, Columbus. They've traveled the world together. Ireland, actually, as well.
It was a fun story that we probably won't have enough time to get into there. They probably picked up a couple of good Guinnesses there on the process. Yeah.
You can't go to Ireland and not.
Nope. Brooke Barnard, the pinch hitter, who hits it into right. And Barnard with the single, moving all the way to third is McClellan. Runners at the corners, 2 outs, and we've seen Florida this game do damage and come up with the majority of their hits with 2 outs.
Yeah, rolling the lineup back over now to Kendra Falvey. She applies so much pressure defensively, and now runners on the corners, 2 outs. Something through the infield, a poke. I was so impressed by the barrel control of Falvey. At times it just feels like target practice for her. She picks a spot on the field, pokes it there.
Those exciting players to watch. Worn the Gator uniform well and proudly. Pulls it over to Ellison, and that ends the inning. But now the Georgia Bulldogs down to their final 3 outs of the season. Come back with us to see what the Dogs can do. To come by. Just 2 hits in this ball game given up by Keegan Rothrock as she has glimpses of what we saw from her in that Friday win.
This is part of the meat of the order, Tiffany, too, that you, in covering Georgia, you and I have covered Georgia this season, talking to Tony Baldwin. This team goes as Goodwin, Gordon, and Goodnight go. And right now, stepping in the box is Shorty herself. Jaden Goodwin, who we had a chance to talk to coming into this weekend, feels calm, feels composed, feels confident.
And launches this one into right, and she's feeling good after that swing. The 2-run homer from Jaden Goodwin. Bulldogs on the board.
When you talk to Tony Baldwin about Jaden Goodwin, there's one answer he gives, and he said, Shorty's my girl. And his girl came up clutch right now in the bottom of this game. The 7th inning with their season on the line. An error to start the inning, and Goodwin cashes in with a 2-run shot.
And that never say never attitude, not over till it's over. Jaden Goodwin told us that Thursday. That's what's made these feisty dogs so tough all season long.
Sarah Gordon, another part of that trio that's been a spark plug for this offense.
The chopper over to Williams at second, and Gordon is retired, 1 out. But you see the smiles from Goodwin because she's still very much hopeful. These Bulldogs have been relentless.
Emily Digby has been lights out through the NCAA tournament. 600 average, scored 4 runs. Today, over.
Trailing in the count now, 0-2. The pitch. And this one in the center field, going back near the warning track. Falby is there. And 1 out remaining. Florida closing in on a return trip to the Women's College World Series. The fans stand to their feet here at Presley Stadium. And if you're just tuning in, folks, it was a 1-run ball game through 4 innings. And then 4 runs put up by the Gators in the 5th. And Lily Backus, one of the 4 seniors here, watching on, hoping the pinch hitter, Esther White, can keep the season alive. One of the young pups on the roster out of New Johnsonville, Tennessee. And you know she wants to extend this game and continue to give hope for her seniors. Now 3-1 to White. Count draws full. Dig in. Here we go. And the 3-2 pitch driven into the outfield, the 2-out single for Esther White.
It's the name of the game right now. This is a team that all season long has battled until the last pitch. They have been in the fight.
And another meeting in the circle here as Van Brakel Prothro has another conversation with this Gator battery. 1 on, 2 outs. And a chance for Florida to potentially advance and move on in these conversations. Not a former pitcher, but what do you assume that they're discussing right here, understanding you just got 1 out to get?
That's the conversation. Take a breath, slow the game down. We got 1 out. Runner on first means nothing. We got a 3-run lead. Attack the strike zone like you've done all game.
It's up to Emma Castori. The sophomore sees that in for strike 1.
Such an effort by the University of Georgia. Battled through a year that has tested them. Finding a way to make it here to Gainesville to fight in a super regional.
And credit the 4 seniors for the Bulldogs and the job they did unseeded to make it here, to come up short against the Florida Gators in a 5-2 decision.